starting to the bottom right of Red City, the Zerg player with a 1-0 lead over his opponent in the third round of Code A.
KT roster crazy.
Really well done when it came to the late game.
Yeah, definitely a crazy game that he played on Belcher Vestige up to a 1-1 game in the series. And to the top left we have his opponent, the Protoss player for the Wunjing Stars. He is, of course,
Wongjin Stars fly.
Flying, definitely with some unique strategies so far in his Code S run.
And Flying is also the player. Well, Crazy has a lot more material out there that he can watch. That definitely is. That's definitely true. I mean, with Crazy Flying playing so many games in Code S in the first group stage and then the second group stage against Zerg players, there's a lot that Crazy can look at and think about what he's going to do. Analyze the scouting patterns of his opponent and just try to determine what kind of strategies would be the most effective against the Protoss here.
Right, that's actually a really good point. You know, the funny thing is, I feel like what happened in that last game was not even really, you know, anything special except for Crazy's decision-making in some of those tough decisions where he was deciding exactly where to put his Storm Host. And we have a cannoning going on here. It could just be a fake to draw some of the drones down, but he did go Forge first, and I just don't think this is getting anything done here.
No. He won't be able to do anything because Crazy is playing this very smart. A lot of Zerg players will overreact and will try to chase down that probe, but he just blocks the spots where the pilots would be. So in this situation, that works very well. And I feel this was actually a situation where Flying looked at the position. He's like, well, you go for a hatch first. So either I cannon you, but even if I don't, you will have to just commit so many drones to this that it's still going to be worth.
Yeah, and that was pretty cool because he just, I don't want to say he faked it, but he was like, all right, you have to move your drones around here, and if you mess up, I'm going to cannon you, but if you don't mess up, you still lose a lot. I'll cancel my pylon at the last second.
It's definitely worth it for Crazy to go for the hatch first with the defense that he just showed, but for Flying, that was the best that he could do. Place down the one pylon, and then if Crazy doesn't react properly, the cannon will go up and he will lose his base, but Crazy committed a lot of drones, so that's the best that Flying can do in this situation. I like it, from both players.
Yeah, really just solid defense and a solid idea from Flying, who's now transitioning normally, getting his double gases. This is going to be a very different game than last game because he went for a Forge first. And this is something that, even though it has not been seen yet by Crazy, he can assume because of the pylon. Otherwise, it would be a crazy weird fake.
Yep. And now with the earlier hatch, he of course has a really good economy starting into this game, and we didn't see a Nexus first for his opponent, so also something that is definitely noteworthy here. And I feel that Flying would have put down that pylon at the bottom right at the natural of his opponent, even if there was a Nexus first, just to fake him out. But now, as you can see, the Harvester count is starting to be in Crazy's favor with the lava mechanics, and he's also going straight into a third hatch because he knows what's going on here.
Yeah. And he's going to confirm in just a second with the Zergling that he sent up to the top left that there is, in fact, a Forge Fast Expand. The Zergling comes up here and he says, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's all that he needed to know. With the Forge Expand, he knows that there is no timing in the world where Flying can be so aggressive that he takes down this base. But we have a probe here, and he should send a Zergling or at least an Overlord over to check that there's no forward pylon and a cannon.
Yeah, that's really important. It looks like he just wants to stay here to make sure the hatchery's not canceled. It looks like he's not going to try to cannon.
He sends the Queen and he is also an Overlord on the way, so that's fine. But it's definitely a risk that you run when you go for such an early third in this situation and you don't have units over. There might be a pylon, and there it is.
Yeah.
But actually in range.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with this. This is a little bit strange. I mean, he should have done this earlier if he was really going to cannon. I think he just wants to fake out. Maybe they can make some Zerglings or something. That's going to cancel it for sure. That's
a very, very obvious bait. If you would really like to do that and force your opponent to build units, you would have done that behind the mineral line.
Yeah, or a long time ago too.
Yeah. I don't think that Crazy is so influenced by such an obvious play that he will panic and push the panic button here.
He made like 4 Zerglings, that's it.
Yeah, just to be on the safe side, but that's not really working.
Flying's just trying to get into his head a little bit in this game. The Overlord will see the Phoenixes.
Really well played here. I mean, he sees the Stargate, and the Stargate opening is what Flying has been favoring for a long time. But a bit of a misstep here by Crazy. He did not get the additional Overlord once he set his Scouting Overlord into the main base. So now he has to get the Overlords to get out of the supply block. But at least he can get all this money into speed, lair tag, extra gas, also going for the double evolution chamber, but still losing a little bit of time here due to the supply block.
Yeah, you know, that's not ideal, but it's still really important he saw it. He's going to lose another Overlord here. It was already so far out that turning it around didn't really make sense, and he knows which direction the Phoenixes are coming from now, at least with that Overlord. He's going to want to start a few more, as he does. It takes forever for one Phoenix to kill an Overlord, as you can see.
Another Overlord dead, and of course we still have the upgrades going on with the Evolution Chambers. 1-1 being started for Crazy, whereas Flying is getting the first attack upgrade now. A little bit late here. But he heads also into a triple gates, and we're having with a robotics transition.
Yeah, Robo coming down. +1 is a little bit later here. There's that pylon. This is what Flying is known for, is Phoenix is into 4 gateway pressure. But this is actually not at the Zerg third base, it's actually at his third base.
No, he's trying to get another base out there. I like it. Once again, Swarm Hosts coming from Crazy. And you know, Swarm Hosts are really good if you deal with this fierce push that we have these days with double Colossi and double Immortals. So this is a very safe situation for him once again. The only thing that I'm interested in is how well he's going to play with the Swarm Hosts if we see a really prolonged game on such a big map. Because that is when Swarm Hosts sometimes have a bit of a problem. They're not as mobile as other units.
Yeah. You're right, and there's a lot of different ramps here for the Swarm Hosts to be force fielded out, the Locust that is, or Colossi to clear them away. Just depends on how he positions them, and I'll be interested, you know, as you are, to see how he uses them exactly here. This third base is not going to be delayed by these Zerglings. The Mothership Core comes over. He did kill a pylon, he did force a cancel on the cannon.
He's going to cancel it. I mean, he sends another round of Zerglings, and those will be able to take out the Nexus.
Oh, these are definitely enough, and this is going to be pretty huge. He has to cancel, he will have to cancel his pylon as well.
That was really well done by Crazy. That's a bad spot for Flying to be in. He doesn't lose the pylon, but his pressure at the bottom right didn't do too much. I mean, Crazy is controlling this very well, and also has an upgrade lead in a few seconds.
Flying, because he was so distracted by the Zerglings at his base, did almost nothing with his Phoenixes down here, and yeah, he cleared up the Overlords, but most of them already pulled back to the safety of Spore Crawlers, as you can see here, and you know, I like Crazy's position more and more with the Locust coming out here, the upgrade finishing, the +1 Carapace for those Locusts as well.
What really impresses me about Crazy's defenses in general is that it's so well executed, especially with Flying delaying his warp gate research for a long time, donating all the gas right into the Phoenixes, but the Phoenixes didn't do all that much damage, and Zerglings on the other hand with those run-bys, they really move in and capitalize on the fact that the gateway or the warp gate research was done so late in the game.
He's just waiting for those force shields to disappear. He may run in again. There's too many Zealots this time, though.
The Zerglings are still on the run. Oh! Maybe getting in, not quite, but trying to take down the Colossus, that's not really going to happen, though.
Yeah, that was not a good trade for Crazy there, but you know, he wasn't going to do too much with those Lings. 8 Corruptors on the way, a Void Ray.
Yeah, but still, he has a really good economy. He is on 3 bases, getting a 4th, going into +2/+2. Crazy is playing a very tech-oriented game. He has the Spy up with the Corruptors, is getting the +1 attack upgrade too. And on the other hand, we are Flying going into air weapons and into the second Stargate. He is going for the Sky Toss.
Yeah. And so far looking to be going into Void Ray heavy Sky Toss. As you can see, he's got a few Phoenixes out already, but Void Rays after Void Rays coming out right now. Interestingly enough, doesn't get Plasma Shields. A lot of players will go for Plasma Shields instead of armor with this.
And also what we don't have in the game is any Swarm Host at all. He got the... Did he cancel the upgrade? Could you double check if he...
I don't think he canceled it.
I don't think so either.
No, he still has it. So he can switch into that later.
Yeah, he can switch into it later whenever he wants, but he didn't get any Swarm Hosts so far just yet. And he doesn't really need them. But with this much of a Corruptor-heavy play, it's going to be difficult as soon as Flying build up a huge number of Void Rays.
Yeah, right now he already has 3 with 2 more on the way, so that's not quite enough. But once you have 5, you know, the Corruptors definitely aren't going to be able to stick around in a fight very long.
Yeah, Prismatic Alignment is just so good against Void Rays. But now he can take down these units.
He does not want to stay here with the Nexus Cannon.
With the Nexus Cannon, he can't really pull that off. There are already 3 Void Rays. They immediately went for the Prismatic Alignment. Warp-ins in the main base, but at least Crazy knows what's up now.
Yeah, with the Phoenixes here, I really don't think he should actually fight, but he doesn't really have much of an escape plan, it looks like.
He can't run away, that's his biggest problem.
Yeah. This is terrible for him. You know, he doesn't even really get any of the Void Rays. He damages a Colossus for a second, but he should be able to chase and kill every single one of those Corruptors.
Flying with a really good unit control here, I have to say. That was well done. Always trying to dodge those Corruptors with the Colossi. He saved both of them. 4 Phoenixes against 4 Corruptors. That's not going to work with the reinforcements moving in.
Yeah, I think he just wants to see if any more Corruptors are coming. Now he sees the entire Corruptor count.
And now we have Swarm Hosts coming up. 5 of them. And additional Corruptors.
Yeah, he needs to be careful of these Phoenixes. They're still very useful. And as you said, yeah, the Swarm Hosts are coming up. So he's transitioning here. He wants to put some ground pressure on. Void Ray is not very good against Locusts.
But yeah, that's true. But the thing is, like, he still needs something against his opponent's Void Rays.
Yeah.
Corruptors alone don't do too well.
I mean, he's really committing to them. He's gone up to 20 Corruptors right now. So that before the Void Rays get up to like 8 or so, that works. But he's getting closer and closer. Right now he's at 7. He's about to be at 8 and 9 with the next 2 coming out. And I agree. I think he's going to need some sort of answer for this, like Infestors, for example, maybe.
I mean,
even.
Right now, he would win the fight, that's for sure. But Flying is getting double Void Rays at a time and adding a 3rd Stargate. So once the Protoss player has his army up, only Corruptors will have a very tough time against the Void Rays.
And it's not only Void Rays, too. There's Stalkers on the ground, cannons, Photon Overcharge.
Definitely true. A lot of cannons also going down here, so very safe play by Flying, going into a 4th base. Both players really just having a lot of respect for each other here and trying to play this as careful as possible. I mean, this is the 3rd round of Code A. If Flying loses this game, then he is in the up and downs, then he won't advance to Code S, so he desperately wants to win this match.
Yeah, and he's just not given any chances here, not given any ground to Crazy. These cannons look like they're not going to quite finish in time for these Locusts. He should be able to kill a few of these, or force a few cancels.
In these siege up positions, this is the strength of the Swarm Hosts and of the Locusts. Drawing the army out, and the Corruptors trying to move in, trying to get a shot at those Void Rays before they can charge up.
Yeah, he doesn't want to waste the charge up either, Flying that is. He wants to be very careful with how he uses that. And more cannons will go down here. They're buying time for the Nexus.
Good creep spread so far by Crazy, connecting his bases, getting a 4th up now. And Flying has to rely on his warp-ins again. The problem for him really is that at this point, he doesn't have a forward pylon set up.
Yeah, he does not. He doesn't have a warp prism either. He starts one right now, ironically, as we talk about this.
But that's smart. I mean, this is what won him, or not won him, but what brought him back into the last game, where he had a good shot at taking down Crazy. So he needs to rely on the run-bys once again. Yeah. So we just talked about it, but this is exactly what he thinks as well. He's like, well, I need to have run-bys. I don't have a pylon because he scouts everything. So I need to have a warp prism here. And he also goes for the Dark Shrine, making him even a little bit stronger.
Exactly. You know, if you have just a few DTs mixed in there, it's a lot easier to target down those hatcheries. And the Void Ray count is starting to get insane, Calor. He's actually about to hit 14 right now. He's got +2 on the way, +2 for his Zealots as well. A little bit later, Charge is about to finish too.
Yeah, and so far the only answer that we have, we see a couple of Vipers coming in, but there are the run-bys that we talked about. The base to the bottom left is most likely going to die. This one he will be able to hold with all the Spike Crawlers and the Queen that he has. But the problem really is, as you said, that we have such a huge Void Ray count that he needs something else.
That egg is going to be kind of funny when that finishes. That Viper will just fly away.
Crazy with the wipe, I don't even... Yeah, okay, now he realizes that it's spawned. But coming back to the original point, only Corruptors against this many Void Rays are not going to cut it. Usually Zerg players rely on Hydralisk and also Queens if there's a huge Void Ray commitment.
I just feel like he's not respecting the Void Ray count right now, because otherwise he would make more Queens. Yeah, he has 30 Corruptors, but you know, 30 Corruptors alone when against charged up Void Rays, the Void Rays are going to own that, especially with Stalker support and anything else.
There are 14, and now with the Templar Archive coming in, we could even see Storm once again.
Here comes some Spores. That's, you know, obviously Void Rays can trash Spores if they're charged up, but they do add a lot of buffer.
There is the warp in. We talked about it earlier. A few Spine Crawlers in the main base. Not enough, but definitely enough to hold that 4 minutes.
Yeah. He did actually damage his own hive with the Viper, so it's a little bit lower than it would be normally, and he might want to target that.
Yeah, the Spine Crawlers are so far doing a good job, but the problem is they all will fall. He needs a few units over here, and the Queens will be able to transfuse and hold that for a little bit longer. Maybe even take down the Zealots in time.
Yeah. And the Vipers he has to be careful with. Remember, they will actually kill a building if you're not paying attention to them.
Yeah.
Two more drones come out here, and he's going to be fine here. The Spine Crawlers were in such a good position, the Zealots kind of bumped into each other there.
He took down the War Prism with the Corruptor, so that was important. But now we have Storm coming up, 3 Void Rays at a time. Those Corruptors, I don't think that they can win this.
No, I absolutely agree. And Storm is getting closer to being finished.
Yeah, not with Storms, but he's trying to just creep forward with the Spore Crawlers. That's his thought process here. relying on Spore Crawlers and Spine Crawlers, always pushing the creep farther forward, and then using the Vipers to abduct single units. That's, I think, what he's trying to do here.
Yeah, but he only has 4 Vipers, and how many Void Races is he really going to be able to grab with those? I think that the composition for flying, if he gets the engagement he wants, if he's the one who initiates properly, I think he's going to crush Crazy's army. And he has a great bank to back this up. They both do, but...
What flying has to do in this game is force a fight outside the range of the Spore and the Spine Crawlers. If he can do this, then he's most likely going to win the engagement and maybe even the game. But Crazy is just trying to put up a siege-up position at this expansion to the left side of the map with the Spines and the Spores, moving in with the army and forcing an engagement over there.
Yeah, he needs to make sure that he keeps his Corruptors in the middle here, as he is right now. He picked off that Observer, that was nice. So that if a run-by like this happens, or a big Colossus attack happens on the left side, he does have some support. Just 2 Zealots definitely not going to be enough, though.
I love that Crazy really commits his minerals to having Spines and Spores everywhere on the map. This gives him a lot of map control. And now, being on 5 bases, he has a really good income. But Flying is trying to equalize that with setting up an Aether base at the Senator.
Yeah, he almost picks off a Colossus there with those Locusts, not quite able to do it. Swarmos count right now is at 11, so that's enough buffer for the Corruptors and the Vipers if he can get an arc or if he can fight near those Spore Crawlers.
A very, very tactical game here. We even have double air upgrades going down and shields for the Protoss. Flying wants to have the best army that he can possibly have in this game before committing to any fight.
On the left side, we have another Zealot attack here. There's only a few Spines. There's mostly Spores here, so he's actually going to start ripping through these. This is going to force a reaction. He doesn't have a whole lot except Locusts on the ground. What is he going to do? Abduct those Zealots in the air and attack them with Corruptors?
Yeah, that's the only thing that I really don't like as much about Crazy's reaction. Sometimes he's just a little bit too slow. He realizes what's happening, but his reaction is not as it should be. And I don't think that he rebuilt the Spine Crawlers at the bottom right in his main base, did he?
I mean, don't think so.
The War Prism is heading over now, the second one that is. So if he didn't rebuild the Spine Crawlers, he might be in a lot of trouble.
He did rebuild 2 more, so he has 3 there. But here comes the first engagement at this base over to the right.
Even 3 are not enough, and if you have 3,700 minerals, he should be able and willing to build a few more.
Yeah, because if you're not, your opponent's going to spend that same amount of minerals on Zealots in your main base because he also has 3,000 minerals, and he's going to start tearing you apart.
And now 3 of the Spine Crawlers, so 2 of them are already gone, the third one being attacked. The Locust trying to take down the left side of the map. He's moving into the mineral line to attack the probes instead of the structure.
Yeah, gets a decent amount of probes here. Here comes the engagement. He forces the charge up on the Void Rays.
Yeah, this is of course what you try to do. You move in, you force a charge up, then you move back and you try to hit the Void Rays when they don't have the prismatic alignment ready.
He killed that Warp Prism. The Zealots did do a decent amount of damage and they're still going strong. He's eliminating some of the Queens, but we do see a Queen transition. He is adding more of those right now.
Yeah, and those... the Locust to the left side do a lot of damage. Here comes the first abduct. He takes out the Void Ray, but the Storm is good.
Yeah, he needs to get some High Templar over there. He's just eliminating these 1 by 1.
Good job so far here by Crazy, but Flying is pushing forward, taking out this position of his opponent and taking down the creep. Another abduct, this time on a Colossi.
He's really careful about where he keeps his Vipers so they can't be feedbacked. I like that.
A good bank for both players. Crazy still ahead in the economy, putting a lot of pressure up here. But he's lost a lot of creep tumors. The creep is moving back. He took down all of the Spore Crawlers. So Flying is just trying to break out here.
Yeah, and he wants to take a good engagement here, but it's just Crazy can always get away with his Corruptors. And Storms are good every time, but if they don't actually kill the Corruptors, they're going to eventually heal up as we're watching.
Corruptors are now in a good spot on the map, trying to have an angle on both routes that Crazy or that Flying can take down to the bottom right. 4 Void Rays are being built, and these Zealots run-bys, as in game number 1, they do so much damage.
Yeah, he just knows that if the Swarmos are not here, he can do this. It's like no Spores, no Spines, and no Swarmos, then I'm going to just send my Zealots and kill everything that's in my way.
It's a huge commitment in minerals, but it's definitely worth it. He did so much damage with them already, not only in the main base at the bottom right, but also at the satellite bases.
Yeah, he kills this base now. He certainly will be able to. He's targeted already. I'm actually going to check. Oh, it's really close. You guys are not seeing it, but he's got that base down to 14 hit points.
And here we go, a couple of abducts, 1 snipe, not taking another chance here. Here comes the prismatic alignment. He needs to move back. He cannot fight against the upgrade.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, he's like abducting these units in and flying, saying, yeah, that's fine. I'll actually take it. I want my Void Rays closer to you.
This unit control is awesome by Crazy. I love this. Retreating, abducting, turning around, sniping the entire time. It is brilliant. It is so awesome to watch.
Yeah, I don't think he can fight anymore. Those storms going down here. The Void Rays actually, even without the charge, still do decent, especially with these upgrades. Remember, he's way ahead in upgrades when it comes to the air right now. He's 3-2 against just +3, but no real Carapace upgrades.
And the storms are what flying needs here. Also, these run-bys, they are doing so much damage. And now the Spore Crawlers and Spines, they are gone in the main base. Another round of warp-ins. And this time it looks like Crazy will lose way too much. This is what happens if you don't set up a few defensive structures against your opponent.
Yeah, he has way more than enough minerals to have had more spines set up, and he's going to lose his Greater Spire now. Those Zealots definitely going to take it out. And the hatchery to the right side of the map still survived. It's now up to 40 hit points, but he could send a few Zealots over there too and kill it.
Flying finds himself in the middle of the map, taking down creep tumors as we speak, building more and more Void Rays. He does have a little bit of a bank here, and the big threat to the Zerg, of course, those High Templars. If he can somehow take them out, he has a really good shot at taking this, but if not, the Storms will give him a hard time.
Yeah, especially because the Corruptors are so stacked up here most of the time. Feedback's going down on Queens.
Well done, there won't be any additional transfuse, and here we go, another Storm hitting the Corruptors.
Yeah, the Storm did kill both Observers, don't forget to. And Charge Up's still good right now. Does he have enough Corruptors? The High Templar are isolated by the Locust.
The Corruptors already on the run, and now it's time for the Brood Lords to die. He's focusing down one by one, a Zergling run by to the left side of the map, taking down that base, and at the same time Corruption goes down on every single Void Ray, but he doesn't have enough of the bull.
There's just way too many Void Rays here. They're still alive, and Archon getting some shots off as well. That hatchery is dead.
Both of them still at roughly the same supply, but now all those Void Rays are moving in, and the Swarmos trying to move back, but immediately the Corruptors are giving, the Void Rays are giving chase, taking down the Spine Crawlers too now.
He just has too much momentum. He's got no anti-air here.
He needs an Observer over here.
Yeah, he does. But the Locusts are not going to kill the Void Rays. He needs more Corruptors. He needs to buy time. And very smartly starts 11 Infestors right now. If he can chain bundle these Void Rays, maybe he can eliminate them.
But here comes another Prismatic Alignment. He's moving in, taking down Overseers. The base is going to fall. The Zerglings, on the other hand, they took down the center left base and are moving now to the natural. There is so much going on in this game at this point in time.
Yeah, Zealot Warpin over here is going to eliminate a lot of these Zerglings with those upgrades. But the Void Rays turned around. When they saw those Infestors on the way, they were like, I'm not sticking around over here. He's just going to try to transition back into a more standard game because he knows he got the better trade in that engagement they just had.
What a beautiful StarCraft 2 game. This is so epic. Both of them with a lot of run-bys, multitasking everywhere. Great micro, especially by Crazy, with the stutter step that he had with those Corruptors, always abducting another unit into the range of his anti-air units. But he lost so many bases. He's now trying to build this base up to the right side of the map once again. But Flying has base after base. He even has another one at the top left, the one that Crazy is trying to take down as we speak.
Yeah. Those Locusts are going to go to town on that base because they're so close, they're so nearby. A little bit of a late reaction here by Flying, and the Locusts take out those cannons. Looks like the Void Rays will finally clear them up before they can get the Nexus, but the next wave may be a problem. He's going to have to use some Storms here to slow those down.
Those Swarmos still doing damage. Flying and his opponent, they are both toe-to-toe here, but a huge supply lead currently for the Protoss player, for the Wounding Stars. Crazy is just trying to get an angle on his opponent, but it doesn't really look like he's getting one.
Yeah, he's got a very small army comparatively. When you look at the total army supply, it's 143 to 92.
Yeah, he's 50 down. And he doesn't have those run-bys anymore.
Yeah, I mean, his Locusts are free, but he still has not dealt with the Void Rays. There are Tempests on the way, which will, of course, contain those upgrades that we talked about earlier, the 3-2-1 upgrades on the air.
The economy is much better for Flying now, and he can starve Crazy out. Crazy is lacking in gas. That's his biggest problem. He's trying to set the extractors up now to get gas so that he can also spend his minerals. Because you don't want to get Zerglings in this situation. For a run-by, they're always awesome, but you need some beefy units that can take the fight. And he can't even build Zerglings because he lost his pool.
Yeah, he restarts his pool now. And you know, there's long distance mining going over here. He's got DTs and Zealots blocking all the bases to the bottom left, so Crazy's not going to be able to take those.
Flying has 200 supply that he's commanding. He has the better economy, he has crazy upgrades, and his Zerg opponent is definitely in trouble. 4 bases for him, but only 2 of them are mining properly, and now DT's even roaming the map.
Yeah, you can see the DTs over here just trying to deny more expansions. And he will clear up this rock, which is going to allow another path for the Locusts. Gonna take a second wave to do so, though, it looks like.
Yeah, Locust are moving in, and maybe can do something with just running past the opponent's army, but look at this composition. Tempest, Colossi, a massive amount of Void Rays. He needs to have the perfect chain funnel in order to stop this.
You know, I think he should be using some of his resources, crazy that is on Queens, because they only cost minerals.
Abduct goes in.
Excellent, grabbing those Tempests, they're the most expensive unit here.
Yeah, taking out those Tempests is really important, but he loses to Vipers. That was so much gas that he just lost, and he is starving for gas. That's the unit that he cannot lose.
Yep. Cannon's going to go down here, and then actually the next wave of Locust could do some damage on that Nexus, though.
The abducts were so important here. If you can get rid of the Tempest, then maybe you are able to do something against this army with chain funnels. But now we are going in once again. The Protoss player really pushing Crazy's buttons.
Yeah. And look at the Locust over here, though. May actually get the Nexus this time. I feel they will. Absolutely.
Ho, ho, ho. Take down the base.
The bank for flying is starting to get eroded here.
Yeah.
Obviously, Crazy doesn't really have much of one either, but he's closing the gap a little bit.
Flying has to make sure that he doesn't lose the base to the top right. That's his lifeline. And I have to give it to Crazy. He's doing everything that he can to come back into this game. But beating this army is going to be his biggest problem. And you can see that he doesn't even really try. There's a good funnel, but that's only a few of the Void Rays. That's not all of them.
Yeah, and these drones are starting to eat some Colossi fire. He does not want to lose his Harvesters down to 16, in fact, right now.
The Templar split is good. He's making sure that those Infestors can never get near this army. And the base is gone. So what does Crazy have now? He doesn't have a single base where he has a good saturation. At the bottom right, the 3 hatches that he controls, there are no mineral patches left.
Yeah. You know what I really like about Flying's base to the left that he's not long distance mining from is he never makes a Nexus until he feels like it's the right time. He's got a probe there and he's like, no, I'm going to spend all my resources on other things right now.
Could you check the double right? Are all of those extractors really gone?
Well, GG. I accidentally hit score screen save return to game, so I couldn't tell you.
Because he had 6 extractors the entire time, and I'm wondering if all of them were really depleted. He wasn't mining there anymore. He was really running out of gas. That was the biggest problem.
I don't think they were depleted. I don't think they were depleted. I think he might have actually lost. He didn't have Harvesters in there or something.
You know, if he didn't have Harvesters in there, it was definitely a bit of an oversight. He would probably not have won him the game because Flying was just too strong in this particular match. But still, it was something that might have helped him a little bit. The problem for Crazy really was defeating this massive army at the end.
And the Void Ray count just got out of control. He did not build up the Queen count that you would want to have. He didn't have any Hydras. He was relying only on Corruptors, and then eventually some of the Vipers, which we saw excellent control on, but it still was not enough. You know, we saw in some of those pulls, he pulled a Void Ray, then he still had to run away, because he was like, well, if I try to target this down, even that second alone, I'm going to lose way too many Corruptors.
That's one of the toughest things as a Zerg player if you're facing this Protoss composition. You have the Vipers that can abduct units, but when you're up against Tempest, you need to get close enough so that the Templars of your opponent can get into feedback range, and then when you lose the Vipers and you don't have a bank in gas, you cannot really afford losing them. They're just too expensive. So definitely a scenario where Crazy was trying to do something, but Flying's unit composition was too strong. It's just this dance when it comes to the range of the individual units and their abilities.
Yeah. Right now, Crazy saying in chat he feels really hot right now, and you can actually see it if you look at him in the booth there. He's sweating. He's going to have to adjust his air conditioner there in the booth.
That was a really enjoyable game. I mean, that was just perfect. Both of the maps that we saw so far, very exciting. Those players definitely on eye level. Crazy against Flying. We are heading into Atlas, our 3rd map here. Make sure that you tell everyone about the series, guys. This is great. I mean, this was so awesome. And I don't think that the 3rd game will fall short.
I do not think so either, man. This is really, really so intense. We saw basically 2 similar games that went to the late game. It's all about the run-by, it's the multitasking, the responses, and the positioning, for example. We haven't talked about too much because so many things are going on in this game, but always managing to ping-pong with his Swarmos back and forth, the different Nexi, sending his Locust to one location, then picking up, then moving to another one, sending his Locust there, then picking up, moving to another one while he's on cooldown. Very, really well done, the control that we saw there.
Go to Reddit, have a look. There should be a thread about Code A. If there isn't, then definitely make sure to create one. People have to know about not only this series, but the next ones that we have coming up here at the GSL Code A. We are heading into the 3rd game now of our 1st series. Crazy versus Flying, KT Rolster versus Moonjing Stars. Score is 1-1. Who will advance to Code S? Yeah, the GSL Code A with Paul and Wolf.